stream live. Let's see if I got
live. What a ding dong. Get out of here. Let me shut this off real quick.
Okay.
Wonder who got first. I will wait. Surreal Talk. What's up, Burnt Offerings? Zariah Blake, Luar, Robert Jerez, Eric, we missed you on Ocho Team Mrs. Hicks. Actually, I was on there today. It was a good show.
You guys didn't stream, did you?
No, he doesn't want to stream, I guess, on YouTube.
Well.
Right. It was a good show, though. If you interested in, like, gun, political debates, government overreach, shit like that, that was the whole argument today on Ocho. It was basically me and Armand and Ocho Man arguing about, like, gun control and illegal immigration and Dems versus Republicans. The two-party system sucks, all that shit. So it was a good one. Tons of facts, which is rare. Yeah, we're late because the show before here ran over. So, sorry. Already calling us out, Everett. 30 minutes late.
We're pieces of shit.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
30 minutes late, we're improving. Hey, he's not shitting on us. Wait a minute. Check 1, 2, is this working? I forgot to check this.
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
2 off, 4 off, 9 off. 2 off, 22. Okay, it looks like we're going to open up another 32 soon. I've got you reserved on one.
Hey.
It's fine. Nobody here plays Halo. So you're good, dude. One way or the other. I'll get a hold of you whenever that's fixed. You can go in there and get your shirt and other passes. The FFA passes aren't selling out, so. Okay. What is this?
What is what?
The show.
That is a microphone.
This isn't working. It's not supposed to rise like that. Check, chickadee, checkpoint, Charlie. It's okay. Gotta get rid of my gum. You should too.
I swallowed it.
Sick fuck.
I swallow all my gum.
My lady in the chat, you seen her yet?
I have not.
She was looking forward to the show, so. 1, 2. A couple more mimics. Man, we're only up for 3 minutes. I got 12. Hey, yo. Bro, I made myself some ramen, ready to chill and listen.
Fucking ramen's good, too. You
I finished my damn ramen before y'all made it. Sorry, bro. I don't like ramen, honestly. What in the fuck?
Do you ever put cheese and ranch in it, Shane Gore?
Ranch is gross. People talk about that.
No, you just, before you put the seasoning in, you throw a slice of American cheese in there with the hot-ass noodles with just a little bit of water left. Mix that shit up till the cheese melts. Then throw your seasoning in. Dab of ranch.
Ooh, finally. God damn you, Danelle. I'm keeping it.
B-Lock A.
Is there a Danelle here?
D-Nice.
Danielle? Danielle? How would it be? Danielle? Danielle? I don't know. Give it about 5 more minutes. We'll start the show.
Let's start it.
No.
We barely got enough time to get what we got to get in.
All right, we'll give it 3 more minutes and we'll start. How about that?
No Armand today. Luar, I don't know. I went looking for him and couldn't fucking find him. He was literally, I was doing a rant with him earlier on another show, and I don't know where he is.
I gotta go get a bottle of soda. Be right back.
See if Armand's down there. If not, then yeah, it's just me and Everett today. First time listening live. Oh, well, right on, Frank. Right on. We hope you enjoy it. We're going to be talking about the Oklahoma City bombing, Timothy McVeigh, and a bunch of weird shit that happened there. Should be pretty good. Well, I only eat spicy ramen. Oh, Frank, look at you. I think Eric is talking about the one that comes in a bag that you make at home. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm talking about like ramen noodles. Yeah, like you crush them up, put them in a bowl in the microwave for 3 minutes. I don't even fuck with putting them on the stove. Dang, chili is the best. Cook an egg on top. Nope, won't do it. Kaczynski next. Oh, Ted Kaczynski? Topic pivot. Show about Raymond. I heard it fucks you up inside you, though. Like, I read I don't know if they're bullshit articles or not, but what's up, Donna? I read that, like, it gives, like, chronic inflammation inside you and your body can't digest those processed noodles properly.
Okay. So I went down to Armand's office, knocked on the door real good, his bedroom, whatever you want to call it. No answer. And it made me come to a starting conclusion of why he is not a host of this show, because this show can go on without him.
Yes, that's true.
So
it will. Armand's in a bit of a rough spot today. If you're wondering why, listen to the Behind the Eight Ball show, and he lays it all out for you. He's not in a good mood today.
Yeah, he's had a little bit of a
financial downfall.
Well, that makes it sound bad, but it's probably accurate. Damn, I look good.
I wouldn't say.
Yeah, me either. I'm just fucking around. Keeping shaved a little bit. Got my
served in restaurants is the real deal.
Going on there. Great.
Oh, yeah. But if you go to a restaurant and order ramen, I mean, that's your own fault.
There's actually ramen restaurants, man.
Shane, I got that PUBG dub. When you going to get down? We get down every night.
Every freaking night we get down on PUBG. Who said something about PUBG?
Shane Gore said he got that dub, PUBG dub.
Oh, there we go.
For sure.
Didn't we play with him? Is that the guy I played with?
I don't know.
I think so. I played with what's his name on Xbox? I'd have to look it up. Fuck. It was pretty good. First game we played, we got a dub.
Yeah. Well, there it is.
All right.
Sugar Daddy.
I'm gonna go.
Yes.
You ready?
Let's start it. I'm ready when you are. I've been
so this layout isn't that great, so we're kind of gonna have to. I don't like this layout. I guess I would, if I could do anything, I would put the facts before we get into the bios. I started adding names there, and I didn't get done doing the whole layout I wanted to do.
Yeah. We're not going to go with your shit.
Okay, good. Because I was like 20% into my thought process trying to lay this.
The whole first page I did is facts. The entire first page. Who, what, when, where, why, how.
Good, great, grand.
Facts.
Good. Well, you will lead this show. Everybody, this is Eric's show. If it sucks, it's his fault. If it rules, it's my fault.
What he really means is I did the research this week.
Hey, I did a shit ton of research. You just wrote it down.
That's fair.
You got me there.
Oh, and someone had sent us the idea of making all of we have every show doc like this week is 8 pages of stuff we're going to talk about the Oklahoma City. We have literally every we make a document for every show like this of points we want to hit on, just to keep us on task and remember everything. And someone told us that we should make those available to people that want them. So if there's any interest in those documents, just let us know. We can give you our show notes, basically, or our research, or whatever you want to call it for any individual episode.
Good to go?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're listening to Surreal Talk, a look inside the world of cults, conspiracies, and the paranormal.
Oh, that is him, Elemental. Yeah.
Something's not right, man. Something's not right. Something's bullshit here, and I don't believe it. That's true.
Honestly, this crazy shit could be completely possible.
Disclaimer, we reserve the right to be wrong, ladies and gentlemen. You gotta cut this volume down. We're so loud because you think you know the whole story? Think again.
Now your hosts, Eric and Everett.
Frank's got a good idea. I gotta start the show. Welcome to Surreal Talk, a look inside the world of cults, conspiracies, and the paranormal. LineUpMedia.fm production, and we are back.
We are back indeed. Friday, another show, another dollar.
Friday the 13th. Wait, that's not true.
I was going to say, that's not even close. It's the 30th. Yeah.
Anyway.
Today we are talking about, at the time was the worst domestic terror attack in U.S. history, the Oklahoma City bombing in 1995.
Yeah.
Where'd that take place?
At the Alfred P. Murrah Building.
Do I need to tell
you it was in Oklahoma City?
Yeah, that was the joke.
In the state of?
Oklahoma. Sure.
That's right.
Before we get into that, though, there was a suggestion on the Facebook group I wanted to talk about, something I'm going to do here next week.
I think Tony mentioned it, too.
What's that?
Never mind. Go ahead. What?
What are you talking about?
I was talking about the show docs being available.
No. Somebody suggested that we should do a live show of a browsing of the dark web.
Yeah, I don't.
You shit on it. But I thought it'd be kind of cool to do, not as a podcast, because that would suck to listen to, right?
But a YouTube video?
No. Do a live Facebook stream on the group.
And show what's on the screen?
Yeah, just put my screen right out there. Let people request, let's go try to find a hitman. And I'll live try to find a hitman.
I don't want no part of this.
Why not?
Why?
You sissy. It's just...
It's just people that are way better at the internet than you.
Oh, yeah. The dark web is so scary. I'm a pussy and don't understand it.
I don't need no part of it, man.
Well, we're doing that. So if anybody has a sack and wants to see me apparently get into some spooky shit, I'll be doing that next week. I'll get a little more details.
What if you stumble upon a child murder?
Stumble like the actual murder somehow taking place digitally?
It's live. It's happening right now.
That'd be a bummer, dude. I'd try to probably call the cops. Hey, here's what I found on the dark web.
On the dark, what the fuck was you doing there? Well, let me see your browsing history. Oh, well, hell, I use Tor, so I can't really show you where I'm at because it hides my IP and everything. So, yeah. Oh, wait. Why do you need to do that? Shut the fuck up, Everett. We ain't doing that. I'm
doing it for sure, so. That's funny.
Anyway, so we're talking about... Oh, and what I was talking about was... Frank made a good point in the chat. Someone asked... if we had these show documents, like the one for this week is 8 pages about the Oklahoma City. It's just stuff that...
Yeah, Frank, I said at the time. Sorry.
We plan to talk about this week, you know what I mean? And it's just a bunch of different questions and talking points and, our research. Show notes, basically. And somebody asked if those were available for anybody to look at and download. And I said, they're not, but we do have every single one on a Google Drive. So if anyone's interested, let us know.
Yeah, Frank said put them out for Patreon. It's a thought.
Yeah, maybe. So this week...
I don't know how that works. I'll figure it out.
Just request it, and we'll give you access to the folder probably.
Or something like the
Google
Drive?
I mean? No, but not...
To put it in Patreon as like a link to that.
Exactly, and you get access to that folder.
We never put enough work into our Patreons. They're just awesome people who don't expect anything in return, and maybe we could give them something.
I agree. It would be cool.
But then we're going to do it, and then somebody's going to put it on the group, and then it won't even matter anymore.
Oh, bootleg copies of the show
docs. Yeah, bootleg
docs.
of the docs.
Damn.
Yeah, that'd be great. Anyway, we're running short on time today. We got about an hour to get through the entirety of the Oklahoma City bombing.
All right, so I'll start it out. So the Oklahoma City bombing occurred when a truck packed with explosives and...
What happened? Did you lose your voice?
I forgot who I am.
What?
No. Anyway, the Oklahoma City bombing occurred when a truck packed with explosives, and we'll go into what kind later, was detonated on April 19th, 1995 outside the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. It left 168 people dead and hundreds more injured. Something in the tune like 600 people were injured or maimed, they called it. And it was weird because the same word, maimed, was used in like 40 different articles and videos. Like that word, couldn't say... severely injured, or it was maimed. They used maimed. I don't know.
They probably all took it from the same Associated Press article.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Right. So all this information, a lot of the information that's out there comes from a single source.
Yeah, Associated Press or Reuters or Scripps Howard. Why is that a problem? You got one person writing the story, and then goes out on the Wire service, which is how most of the news in the world gets out.
What about? I don't know. Okay. Anyway.
Just saying.
So hundreds more injured. The blast was set off by an anti-government militant, Timothy McVeigh, who in 2001 was executed for the crime. His co-conspirator, Terry Nichols, was sentenced to life in prison until September 11th, 2001. The Oklahoma City bombing was the worst terrorist attack, as Everett mentioned, on U.S. soil.
Man, you got to turn your mic around because I can barely hear you.
Can you really? No.
See the little knob? The little knob here on it?
Me. I can't hear me at all. Hello? Hello?
You can't hear yourself?
I'm dead front.
Look.
Dead front.
No, you're not. It's on the side. The little knob there.
Hello.
Oh yeah, shit. There you are.
Yeah, but look at how the mic is like that. It's fucked up.
That's ouch.
Yeah, imagine that, right? All right. So 168 people dead. 20 of those are children. 19 were children. He parked this Ryder van that he rented underneath, directly underneath the daycare at the Oklahoma City Federal Building.
Yeah. Pretty shitty. Killed 19 kids instantly, from what I understand.
Yeah. Well, at least it was instantly, and it wasn't, like a painful, drawn-out process. At least they weren't.
There probably was some that was
maimed.
Maimed as you were,
yeah. More than 650 people injured in the bombing. And this is a crazy number here. So, damaged or destroyed over 300 buildings in the immediate area. What the fuck?
How about this? I believe the number was 39 people who were working in a housing authority office about a block away were killed.
Every one of them?
Well, 39 people. I don't know if it was every person in that building, but 39 people a block away died.
How?
It was a big fucking bomb, dude. It was like 7,000 pounds, something like that.
Oh, yeah, it was like 6,600 pounds or something. Yeah, Jesus. Okay. It was perpetrated by Timothy McVeigh, Terry Nichols, and Michael Fortier, I assume. It's not Fortier, I'm sure. So at the time, Nichols was in the right-wing militant. He was against any government and, interaction. You know, he didn't. It basically, he even said in, I guess it was the interview with 60 Minutes, that this was a direct response to like the Ruby Ridge and Waco oversteps by the government. You know, where they
both of them felt that it was an affront to the Second Amendment rights, and it's just more taking away the rights of private citizens. And they were big time believers in the government should be afraid of the people, not the people afraid of the government. You know, the same type of stuff you hear a lot of our listeners listen to or say, or subscribe to those type of things.
And that part of it is completely true. I mean, I
don't disagree with that.
Not at all.
His profile again is not unlike that of a lot of our listeners. You know, fed up with the government.
I'm there.
Thinks less government should be
agreed.
Less government, the better. Second Amendment proponents.
Agreed.
Gun owners and whatnot.
Agreed.
Way into conspiracy theories.
Agreed.
I mean,
I'm Timothy McVeigh.
You kind of are, except I don't think you would ever go crazy like that. And that's the weird thing about that guy too. I watched a lot of interviews with people that he was in the Army with, and and knew him, and interviews with Timothy McVeigh himself. So the people that were in his unit painted him as somewhat of a out of nowhere angry guy. Like they'd be sitting in.
Of course they did.
Well, again, it's true. They got to make their money and make their interviews. But the story the one guy told, they were driving along in Iraq or some shit like that, and he would just out of nowhere be pissed off and screaming about something, like just ranting on something out of nowhere. Just out of nowhere. Nothing apparently would set him off, which is kind of weird. And another story that the guy told was they were driving along in some sort of armored vehicle similar to a tank, but not quite a tank, like a big truck with a big-ass gun on it. Any which way, the guy tells
like a Humvee?
No, way bigger, like a big-ass six-wheel type of armored transport thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Any which way, apparently McVeigh shot a shot over 1,000 yards, hit an Iraqi soldier in the head, and popped his head complete apart. And he bragged about it for a long-ass time, like more or less as a psychopath.
That was probably a good shot, but I mean, yeah.
Sure. You and I were talking about that specific thing this morning in the movie, what was it? Where the guy's training to train. Oh, Jack Reacher.
Jack Reacher, yeah.
So they trained for years and years and years, shooting hundreds of rounds of shot, or sniper rifle fire a day, go to country, probably feel like they've trained forever and they want to get that itch scratched, shoot somebody.
So a little context behind whatever we're talking about right now. We had a conversation trying to relate Timothy McVeigh's mindset to the sniper that was in Jack Reacher that he was trying to track. Jack Reacher explained that this kid, 20-something years old, in Iraq over there, trained every day, went to the range every day, shot 250,000 rounds downrange for 2 years straight. He had shot over 250,000 rounds, sat in his perch every day waiting for his opportunity. This is what he was trained for, and then was shipped home and never got the opportunity to scratch that itch. He never got to shoot.
Well, he did, though.
He did. Well, exactly. Well, that's why he did it. And so they were saying that, Everett and I were just talking about how, like, the psychology in Timothy McVeigh's mind was probably a lot like that character in that movie.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So, but anyway, so a lot of people theorize that at the time the American military was downsizing after the collapse of the Soviet Union, and that's why McVeigh shifted his ideology from a hatred of foreign communist governments to suspicion of the U.S. federal government. You know what I mean? So you have commies to hate no more. USSR's fallen. So I mean, A
little more background on Timothy McVeigh too. He as a kid idolized the movie Red Dawn. Did you ever see that? With Patrick Swayze?
Yes.
That movie gave him a hard on,
Really? I didn't know that he idolized Red Dawn. Loved it, huh?
Loved the idea of, hiding out in the hills, guerrilla warfare against the Russians or whoever the enemy was. That was his thing. So just carrying on a little bit more of the psychology behind this guy.
Okay, yeah. So, especially as its new leader, Bill Clinton, elected in '92, had successfully campaigned for the presidency on a platform of gun control. So that was something that he completely didn't agree with. Was this new president campaigning on the platform of gun control? So McVeigh and Terry Nichols and their associates, and their associates, which we don't know who they are. Yeah, they didn't meet in boot camp. They met later than that, and because Nichols was 10 years the elder of McVeigh.
Doesn't matter. They still met in basic training.
Yeah, so you're 28 and can go to basic training?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, well, maybe I'm wrong then.
Maybe you are.
So their associates were deeply radicalized by such events as the August 92 shootout at Ruby Ridge, Idaho, between federal agents and survivalist Randy Weaver at his rural cabin, and the Waco siege of April 1993, in which 75 members of the Branch Davidian religious sect died near Waco, Texas. We did a show on that. Fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That was nuts, too. So he planned the attack on the Murrah Building, which housed regional offices of federal agencies such as the DEA, the Secret Service, the ATF, which is the agency that had launched the initial raid on the Branch Davidian compound. So that was a lot of his reasoning for doing this, was that the ATF they were the ones responsible. They were the government agency responsible for killing the 75 people in Waco, including kids included, for just practicing a religion. You know what I mean? And that's essentially what he thought of it.
That's what he felt about
That's
the
what he felt about it.
situation,
They're just trying to do their own thing, man. They don't need the government in there helping them. And the government came in, tried to break their shit up, get David Koresh, and killed like 80 people. And he was pissed off about the Ruby Ridge thing, too. And like you said, didn't he say in the 60 Minutes interview that the Waco was like a direct reason? And
well, he did it 2 years to the day after
exactly.
Waco.
He planned it 2 years to the day after Waco as like a fucking fuck you. Here you go. You know what I mean?
Sure, and again, I'm shitty at my not my research this time, but writing stuff down. He was quoted in saying that there was a few incidents after the Oklahoma City bombing that the U.S. government actually changed the way they would handle a situation like this. I don't remember what the events were, but he felt that his actions in Oklahoma City had basically
made them tighten their shit up.
Yeah, pussified the government a little bit. You know what I mean, so to speak. What he did changed their way of acting. So.
Well, I mean, yeah, rightfully so. He killed 190 people or something and injured 650 more. So, yeah, I think they should figure out a better way to deal with that. But, so April 19th, 1995, the 2-year anniversary of the disastrous end at the Waco siege, McVeigh parked a Ryder truck loaded with a diesel fuel fertilizer bomb.
Let's say for people who don't know what Ryder is, if you don't live in America,
U-Haul.
Ryder, who might not know what U-Haul is a box truck.
That's a fair point.
It's the truck he used was probably about 15 foot long. It's like a standard moving truck or anything like that. You would just load up big open space in the back, and he packs it with
6,600 pounds or so of
ammonium nitrate fertilizer,
diesel
fuel oil, right?
ANFO is ammonium nitrate and fuel oil,
right?
Yeah. So, in December 2000, McVeigh asked. Oh wait, hang on, check that out. At the Murrah Building fled. Oh, yeah, so this is the part that fucks me up. He got caught 90 minutes after the bomb exploded, driving down the highway. Yeah, okay. That one just is crazy to me. So to end the whole deal, in December 2000, McVeigh asks a federal judge to stop all appeals of his convictions and set a date for his execution. He's ready to die.
Well, okay, yeah, he had originally lost his court case.
Yes.
They had started appeals. And eventually he just said, fuck it, stop all appeals, set my execution date, and they did.
Yeah, so at 33, he died by lethal injection at the U.S. Penitentiary in Terre Haute, Indiana, and was the first federal prisoner to be put to death
since the 60s, right?
63. So that's crazy. And that's what
all other ones were state.
Almost 40 years a federal prisoner had not been put to death. Well, I guess Saddam was technically a federal prisoner, right? We put him to death, but that was 2000.
We didn't put him to death. The
did we hang him?
Did. I'm pretty sure the Iraqis hung him.
Oh, I thought we did.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
we didn't do it.
Yeah.
No. America doesn't have the.
We installed the Iraqi government. We picked its leaders. Yeah, Iraq hung Saddam, and
anyway,
that was pretty crazy. Yeah, so the request was granted, and he died. 95, the Murrah Building was demolished for safety reasons, and the Oklahoma City National Memorial Museum was later opened at the site. So now on to the good stuff, the conspiracy. So you know the facts.
Stuff.
You know the facts. This is what happened.
That's not all the facts.
No, I mean, but you get to more of the facts than when I discuss the conspiracies here.
All right.
So one theory contends.
Can I interject one more time? Sorry.
Of course.
As always, especially on this one, get out there and watch some of the videos and stuff that out there exist and read some of the articles. There's a lot more going on in the
I watched zero videos on this. I read all articles. So zero videos.
I tried to watch a lot of interviews and stuff from the time, and here's another little interesting fact. There's no video of the bomb blowing. I could find no video of it actually blowing.
Well, yeah, it was. I mean,
it makes sense.
1995. Yeah, there's not like a lot of cell phone cameras out there. And
you figure maybe. You never know. There was nothing. Anyway.
Yeah. God, did the whole fucking side. That building looked terrible, didn't it?
Yeah.
I wonder how tall that was. I should have got the
blew
dimensions.
9 stories of it off. Hold on, let me
he
see.
blew the entire north face of the building off.
You know what his one regret was? He was quoted as saying for that day.
What?
Is he didn't bring the whole building down.
Jesus Christ. Fucking psycho.
Yeah.
All right, so the conspiracies here, I got a few of them to run through. The one theory contends that there was a cover-up of the existence of additional explosives planted within the Murrah Building. The theory focuses on the local news channels reporting the existence of a second and third bomb within the first few hours of the explosions. So local news is reporting, right after it happens, there's second and third bombs in the building, so they report
I saw all that too, yeah.
And
they said they actually found them, not that they, that they went off. They said they found the bombs, is what the news was reporting, if I'm not mistaken.
So nearby seismographs recorded 2 tremors from the bombing, believing it to indicate 2 bombs had been used. Experts dispute this, stating that the first tremor was a result of the bomb.
I just say the way the stage is working, the way that bomb blew is probably that.
They say the second was the collapse of the building.
Oh, that could be too, yeah.
So conspiracy theorists, I don't like that word, but say that there are several discrepancies, such as proposed inconsistencies between the...
What other would you call a person who
free thinker,
theorizes about conspiracies?
Free thinker, bud.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Yeah.
You're right.
Such as proposed inconsistency between the observed destruction and the bomb used by McVeigh. Physicist Samuel T. Cohen, known as the primary inventor of the neutron bomb, stated in a letter to an Oklahoma politician that he did not believe a fertilizer bomb was capable of causing the destruction at the Federal Building. Simply, Air Force Brigadier General Benton K. Parton expressed an opinion that there must have been additional explosive charges inside the Murrah Building. So here you go. You have a guy that the primary inventor of the neutron bomb stated in a letter to an Oklahoma politician that he doesn't think that that would have caused that damage.
Well, I want to throw something a little out here. He invented the neutron bomb. I wonder how much of an expert in ballistics he was and engineering. He's a physicist. If he was telling me how much of a yield it might have, you know what I mean? If you blow up a certain type of bomb, I could believe him. But
so you don't put no stock in this. You don't think that part's...
I'm just saying, this is one of those. This screams to me like how the news finds the closest expert they can find and get an opinion.
Yeah, right. Like, Eric, you're there. What do you think about this conspiracy? Woo, I'm no expert.
Well, this guy is
an
expert, so it's like having Michio Kaku on to talk about something close to fucking string theory. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, I'm going to tell you a colorful way about it, but I'm not actually the expert. He's giving you the Bill Nye the Science Guy version of the events.
I like Bill Nye, even
so
though
do
he's
I,
not
but
really
you get
a
my point.
scientist.
You can't completely take complete.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there's that.
As a free thinker,
there's that out there. Don't you can't exclude the fact that the guy that invented the fucking neutron bomb said that that didn't do that. Yeah. Anyway, so in 1997, the United States Inspector General Agency reviewed the Justice Department and FBI crime lab based on allegations of chemist Frederick Whitehurst that the lab was poorly managed and operated. Among other findings, as summarized by CNN, the review determined that the FBI investigation into the Oklahoma City bombing was sloppy and partisan rather than scientifically objective. The FBI lab relied on scientifically unsound conclusions that were biased in favor of the prosecution, and supervisors approved lab reports that they cannot support, and then the FBI officials have aired about the size of the Murrah Building blast, the amount of explosives involved and the type of explosive used in the building. And additionally, the FBI examiners could not identify the triggering device for the truck bomb or how it was detonated, and the evidence did not support the theory that ammonium nitrate fertilizer was the primary explosive. So, like I was telling you at lunch in the car, they didn't investigate certain avenues because it would open up doors for the defense.
True.
You know what I mean? So they didn't want to ruin their case. So this wasn't a fully thought out investigation.
Well, not a fully realized investigation.
A fully investigated investigation. It wasn't a full, proper investigation is what I'm saying. So what do you think about that? There were theories and even experts saying that the ammonium nitrate fertilizer could not have been the primary explosive used because it didn't trigger enough of a blast, and they could not
You're
find.
Asking me what I think.
What do you think?
The experts right that it was ammonium nitrate?
I'm saying, what do you think about the experts saying that, and that they couldn't find the triggering device for the bomb, and they have no idea how it was detonated?
Well, I look at it like this: one group of experts says it couldn't have been. One group of experts says it absolutely was. Who am I supposed to believe? The ones that go against the main story just because they go against the main story?
Let me tell you. Let me fuck you up with some truth here.
Hit me. Fuck me up.
So neither Timothy McVeigh or Terry Nichols had any bomb building experience. They had rudimentary explosive experience from their time in the Army, but they were not bomb defusers. They were not bomb builders. They didn't even fuck with bombs. Okay,
so
you know what I'm saying? So how did they build this 6,000-pound bomb
they had more
so
help.
Sophisticated? Well, okay, there we go.
Okay. And that's not. And I don't find it too hard to believe that they could have figured it out. You ever heard of the Anarchist Cookbook?
Motherfucker, you're gonna try to figure out a 6,600-pound bomb that's gonna do that sort of damage?
They tried smaller versions of it. They made smaller versions of it. You know, it's not like it was a whim. It was a 9-month fucking planning operation.
I don't know how to make a bomb, but I'm gonna say fuck.
Because you're an idiot.
I'm gonna go ahead and go all out and make a bomb that can blow up an entire fucking building with no sense of maybe this could hurt me. That doesn't make fucking sense, man.
He actually had part of his plan that if his fuses didn't work, he was going to take his 45 out. He had basically some fucking dynamite he was going to shoot to jumpstart it if his fuses didn't work, killing himself. I mean, he was into it. He was ready to kill himself to blow it up by hand by shooting it basically to make it go. Do your research.
Shut your mouth. I didn't watch videos on YouTube. You're the one that telling me YouTube sucks, right?
Well, I didn't have a lot of time. I piled in 20 hours of research and 3 hours of video.
So another one of the theories is that the U.S. federal government had some sort of involvement, if not a lot of involvement, in the whole ordeal. And so it alleged that President Bill Clinton had either known about the bombing in advance or had approved the bombing. Now, that's a little out there, but we're going to go with it.
George Bush did 9/11.
It's also believed that the bombing was done by the government to frame the militia movement or enact anti-terrorism legislation.
That I could buy.
While using McVeigh as a scapegoat.
That I could buy, because he had been, like, going... Oh, shit. Hold on. I got to find my phone. It's going off. This is embarrassing. Where's it at? What a loser I am. But he had been going around the region, actually around the country, visiting militias with Terry Nichols. And had been quoted, and he never joined any of them because all these people who were running these militias, these paramilitary groups, he wasn't impressed with. He had been in the Army, at least went to the first day or two of Special Forces training before he washed out.
Yeah, he got washed out of Special Forces training.
He was sick. Did you know that? His legs were like injured and he couldn't make the run.
He took the honorable discharge because of that.
No, that wasn't because of it, because he did that months later. They choose you, tell you when to come do your train or your
Special Forces.
Yeah. And he was injured at the time, more or less, and wasn't able to do it. He had to sent in his resignation letter for that and went back to his normal post. It was months later that he had actually resigned from the Army and took, his
what was
discharge.
The reason for his official resignation? Because a lot of the articles reported that he resigned because he wasn't able to make it into the Special Forces.
After he didn't make it, he got really disillusioned. You know what I mean?
Okay, there you go.
So
yeah. Anyway, so in 1993, in a letter to his sister, published by the New York Times in 98, McVeigh claimed that during his time at Fort Bragg, he and 9 others were recruited into a secret black ops team that smuggled drugs into the United States to fund covert activities and were to work hand in hand with civilian police agencies to quiet anyone who was deemed a security risk. So he wrote his sister a letter, which the New York Times published, saying, hey, me and my buddies, we got recruited into like fucking black ops shit, you know what I mean? Like legit, there's no record of this happening, to silence dissenters about different things, you know what I mean? That to me is crazy, but he wrote this letter.
Yeah, but I mean, I know plenty of people who make up fucking weird posts and post them on Facebook, you know what I'm saying, about shit they do or see. So again, the guy could have been a little bit of paranoid schizophrenic, or maybe not schizophrenic, but paranoid for sure, and sent his sister what he believed to be more or less.
Okay, so you think it could have been his own delusions. Well, check
maybe
this out.
Maybe not a delusion, but just making shit up to get people attention.
Right. So in a 2001 declaration by Terry Nichols, McVeigh's convicted co-conspirator, under paragraph 10, which initially involved visiting gun shows and making contact with loose network of anti-government and far-right sympathizers. This undercover activity allegedly escalated to armed robberies and a planned bombing under the direction of FBI agent Larry Potts. So his co-conspirator Terry Nichols is also saying that we did shit for the FBI undercover with a bomb plot. You know what I mean? So it's not just McVeigh here saying that they had contact with government agencies and were contracted to do some fucking government shit. Nichols is saying it too. He's saying, we did this, we did that. So here's a thing from filmmaker Bill Bean.
I'm going to have to look into that. I'm not saying you're wrong. That's very interesting to me. I want to read about that.
That's totally true. Filmmaker Bill Bean believes he filmed and briefly spoke to McVeigh on August 3rd, 1993, while doing location scouting at Camp Grafton in North Dakota. This event occurred over a year after McVeigh resigned from the Army, and Bean believes that he has proof that McVeigh was still in the military after his supposed resignation.
Yeah, you see that a lot too. Well, at least in movies.
Bean notes that the United States military and FBI have denied that McVeigh was the man Bean filmed at Camp Grafton, but also states that Professor Michael Blomgren, a speech pathologist at the University of Utah, did a voice forensic test of the Camp Grafton subject in comparison to McVeigh's 60-minute interview and determined the match to be 86% between the two voices. So,
pretty good. I mean, not foolproof, but
right.
Good.
So that I mean, there's that.
Did you know Timothy McVeigh was at Waco? He was protesting outside of Waco.
Was he?
Yeah, there's video of him outside with a sign protesting.
Really? I did not know that. Yeah. That's fucking interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so that was another one that the U.S. Government was involved, and there's a lot to look at in there, between his declaration and Terry Nichols' declaration of what they say they were doing for the government. Obviously the government's denying any of these claims. Fuck no. We ain't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So another crazy part about it was like the investigations, and that's what I was saying earlier. So in 2006, United States Congressman Dana Rohrabacher said that the Subcommittee on Oversight and Investigations of the United States House Committee on International Relations, which he chaired, would investigate whether the Oklahoma City bombers had assistance from foreign sources. On December 28, 2006, when asked about the fueling conspiracy theories, with his questions and criticism, Rohrabacher told CNN, "There's nothing wrong with adding to a conspiracy theory when there might be a conspiracy."
He's not wrong, yeah.
In fact, among other unresolved questions, Rohrabacher also criticized the FBI for not explaining how Nichols, who did not work steadily, paid for his several trips to the Philippines and had $20,000 cash, for not finding explosives concealed in Nichols' house until a decade after the bombing.
Yeah, he had a crawl space apparently, and they got a anonymous tip to go check the house, and they found more explosives down there.
Huh. A decade later.
I wonder who gave him the tip.
I don't know.
I wonder if they were actually his explosives and he put them there, like, or maybe somebody planted them, put the tip in, and then boom, more explosives from Terry Nichols.
So, people give him shit for not. They rushed to rule out the existence of John Doe number 2. So they wanted to immediately make it like this.
Well, they make it. The story is that McVeigh rented the Ryder truck with another individual.
I'll get there.
Okay, cool.
I got all those inconsistencies down here too.
You know, he signed his own real name when he picked that up, like an idiot.
Did he really?
When he went to sign it, that's what. I watched an interview with the lady who ran the Ryder shop, and she said that he was kind of nervous, and that happens a lot whenever somebody's using a fake name. They'll accidentally, just by habit, sign their real name.
Wow.
So
yeah, that's crazy. So they were mad because they ruled out the existence of John Doe number 2 and for not thoroughly investigating possible connections between McVeigh and the Aryan Republic Army and Andreas Strassmeyer. So I don't know who that is. In March 2007, Danny Coulson, who served as Deputy Assistant Director of the FBI at the time of the attacks, voiced his concerns and called for a reopening of this investigation. This is the Deputy Assistant Director of the FBI. Called for a reopening of the investigation. So September 28, 2009, Jesse Trentadue, a Salt Lake City attorney, released security tapes that he obtained from the FBI through the Freedom of Information Act that shows the Murrah building before and after the blast from 4 security cameras. So this is alluding to what you said earlier. The tapes are blank at points before 9:02, which is the time of the detonation. And Trentadue said that the government's explanation for the missing footage is that the tape was being replaced at the time.
that's fucking weird. And that's actually makes me
4 CCTV cameras pointed at this building, caught before and after, but not the incident because they was changing the tapes.
That's really weird.
Well,
that explains why there was nothing. That's what I was saying too. 1995,
Yeah,
you'd think there was something.
That's what I said. Yeah, hang on. So yeah,
Weird.
That's crazy to me, man.
Inconsistencies abound. Well, what else you got?
So Trentadue became interested. Now this is the guy that requested the Freedom of Information Act in the case when his brother, Kenneth Michael Trentadue, died in federal custody during what Trentadue believes was an interrogation because Kenneth was mistaken for a possible conspirator in the Oklahoma City bombing. So they picked this guy's brother up, thought he was a conspirator in this bombing, and he died in custody. So that caused...
They tortured him, I bet you.
Oh, of course. So that caused this guy, a Salt Lake City attorney, to get a Freedom of Information Act from them and for the government footage of those CCT cameras, and there's nothing there. So he was personally invested in the case because they thought his brother was one of the co-conspirators. So he I'm going to dig deep into this
The fuck
shit.
you guys do to my brother?
Yeah, he got an FOA, a Freedom of
If they
Information.
killed you, dude, I don't think I'd dig.
Really?
I'd be like, this motherfucker's probably into something.
But, there's just so much, and I know I'm going fast, guys, and there's a lot to take in all here. Sorry, but I've got to continue to go fast to hit everything that I want to hit by the time we have to hit it. So, in November 2014, John Schindler, a former professor at the Naval War College and National Security Agency intelligence officer, wrote, "It would be good if a serious relook at the Oklahoma City bombs' many unanswered questions were established for the event because of the state that when he participated in a because of the existence of important evidence indicating that there's something we should be talking about. He stated that when he participated in a re-examination by the United States intelligence community after the September 11th attacks of possible foreign involvement with recent terrorist attacks, he found, as Rohrabacher's investigation did a few years later, that the FBI and the Department of Justice had no interest in anyone peeking into this case, which they
It's
were...
like his opinion, though, man.
Well, right, which they considered closed, indeed tightly shut. Even in top secret channels and other avenues were blocked. So this guy's got sources. He can reach out and figure shit out, okay?
Sure.
All his channels were like, no, not happening. Done. Nope.
Stop looking.
It's done. You can't get any information about this. So, let me find where I was at.
It's like a bad movie. You know what I mean?
Right. I know it's
John
a fucking
Grisham
bad
novel.
movie, right. While cautioning that the bombing has attracted more than its share of charlatans and self-styled experts, guilty, and some of which are eager to pin the bombing on Arabs, Mason Jews, and perhaps space aliens even, Schindler urged a resumption of Rohrabacher's investigation and incited 2 issues as notable. McVeigh and Nichols' visit to the Philippines was notable, and the activities of a German national and a friend of McVeigh. And that those two things were never, ever looked into or talked about inside of this investigation.
They didn't have to paint the picture they needed.
Exactly. And that the picture that they needed, that's important, because to do a proper investigation, you got to, all avenues that open up, you have to investigate. And they didn't do that. So another big conspiracy about it was that McVeigh was under some sort of mind control, like CIA, like MK Ultra, and that he was, duped into doing this, basically. So it wasn't just that McVeigh had spent time in the United States military. His apparent crazy claims of being microchipped and mind-controlled made collective ears prick up a little in the conspiracy communities.
Claims to be microchipped and all that?
He did. He doesn't claim that now.
Well, no, probably not.
Right. The aforementioned Ted Gunderson certainly took notice of McVeigh's words, because Gunderson already suspected that a high-level military bomb had been used rather than a crude homemade contraption. This was purely speculation on the part of conspiracy theorists. If Gunderson was correct and McVeigh had received high-level military training, then his bizarre statements might prove to be more than the mad ravings of a lunatic. They might be something worth looking into, no matter how chilling the notion might be that people under the control of certain agencies within the U.S. government. So somebody's saying that if he did have that level of experience he was talking about, then maybe he wasn't fucking rambling.
And then if that's the case, then maybe he did have enough experience to build that bomb.
Maybe. So
you can't have one without the other.
No, you're right. I agree. No, I'm just saying. I'm just pointing out inconsistencies in the entire deal here. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say what I think happened or didn't happen.
What do you think happened?
I don't know. In what seems to be standard practice of intelligence agencies, all CCTV footage of the events of that morning were confiscated and instantly made the property of the United States government. Adding fuel to this fire, many suspect that the vast majority of the footage has since vanished. But we know from that attorney in Arizona's Freedom of Information Act, the footage is still there. It's just not complete. There's no footage of the bomb detonating. There's footage like 2 minutes before and then 2 minutes after, but there's a gap where they were changing the tapes exactly when the bomb blew up.
That's irritating.
That's fucking irritating, right? That's the same thing with the Pentagon with 9/11. The most goddamn secure building on the fucking continent, and you got CCTV cameras all over the top of the
literally
fucking
every
building,
inch,
everywhere,
tracking every
to see
cockroach.
everything, and we get 5 still frames.
Yeah, blurry ones too.
Oh, yeah, right. Anyway, the footage has since been vanished. Many people believe that there was substantial evidence contained within the tapes. However, without access to the tapes, and any such claims always fall short of being completely convincing. We have already mentioned the presence of the responders. There is reason to believe that the CCTV tape... Oh, yeah, so this is something that I didn't put in here because there wasn't a lot on it. But there was upwards of 20 eyewitnesses saying that there were already first responders on the scene before the bomb blew. They were like 20 ambulance, truck, looked like SWAT team people. Just there were people fucking everywhere that shouldn't have been there. First responders before the bomb blew. 20 eyewitness
Don't you think
accounts.
they would have been killed too? Probably, if that was the case. What's the good of having them right there at ground zero before it goes off?
What's the good of having them there? Oh, I don't know.
If they're right.
In the area doesn't mean standing out the front door.
But again, people a block away, 39 people died in an office building. So.
Well, I'm just telling you. Hey.
I hear you. I'm just throwing, because for all the inconsistencies they're pointing out, with the official story, I got to point out some weird shit I see with their unofficial inconsistencies.
All right, so I agree. I hear you. There's inconsistencies in that too. But so here's a list of things that we do not know, and it's not. I'm going to talk about each one. The exact origin of the plot. So we don't know where it came from, despite the government's insistence.
But what about that book? Hold on. What's it called? I got it right here. What's the book called? God damn it. Oh, the Turner Diaries. It was a vaguely white supremacist book. The start of that book started out more or less exactly the same way the Oklahoma City bombing went down. Car bomb takes out a fucking government building.
Okay.
And he had that book with him. Or pages from it, at least. He was a big fan of it when he was a kid. He found that book in high school. Loved it.
Okay.
So it's kind of weird that book starts with the exact same type of...
Okay, so if the government set this up, you don't think they put that book in there for evidence, is all I'm saying. So you can't... I'm just saying.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that it's very, like, the plot, you know what I mean? That's a possibility that, like, fuck, this guy's loved this book since he was a kid. You know what I mean? They had the exact same type of thing going on. Paramilitary actions.
So you mean he wanted to blow a building up from a kid, he just needed a fucking reason?
Possibly.
Okay.
Or at least took some inspiration from it.
Okay. So despite the government's insistence that... insistence that the case had been solved. We don't know the exact origin of the plot or how many people even carried it out. The federal indictment against McVeigh and Nichols, the latter fronted the money and the other did most of the bomb's construction for McVeigh, made specific mentions of others unknown. When their trials were almost over, the presiding judge, this is the judge that fucking convicted him, publicly urged the FBI and other law enforcement agencies to keep investigating. His plea fell on deaf ears because they did not. But the judge is sitting here going, there's shit we don't know here. You got, you know what I mean? So, but based on what they presented him as how he had to make his ruling. So
it's good enough for the prosecution. It has to be good enough for the judge.
Exactly.
I mean, that's their job. If it's a case good enough that they can prosecute, we think we have the evidence, we'll take it before the judge.
So and this next one of something that we don't know was really interesting to me. Where'd they learn to build the bomb of that size and power? So we don't know how McVeigh and Nichols learned to build a fertilizer bomb of such size and power. Neither received more than the small training with explosives when they served together in the Army, and their earliest experience with smaller devices were haphazard at best.
Okay, I read that same quote, but then I read some stuff that McVeigh had said about the way he had placed this stuff in the back of the truck. Not like a fucking idiot. He placed the initial barrels in a reverse J pattern at an angle across the back of the truck, for the specific reasons of the load of a 7,000-pound bomb. You can't just have off to one side, like if you want to get it close to the building as possible, because you run the risk of having the thing list to one side, busting a fucking axle when you're driving.
Any idiot truck driver knows that. You can't put your load to one side. You can't chalk that up to bomb-making skills.
Well, fair enough. It chalks up to not being a complete fucking idiot whenever you're going to put a bomb in a building. Just saying that.
It also chalks it up if you're hauling something in the bed of your fucking truck, you don't put everything on one side. You can't attribute bomb-making skills to knowing how to load a truck.
All right, I'll give you that.
Okay, so what they did not know was how they built it, rudimentary at best. FBI agent Ted Gunderson, which is the guy I mentioned earlier, conducted an independent investigation. He believed and publicly stated that there was ample evidence of advanced bomb-making skills in the Oklahoma City tragedy. To him, all the indications were of a barometric bomb, a.k.a. an electro-hydrodynamic gaseous fuel device. You want to look that up and find out what that is, a barometric bomb?
Oh, barometric. What is it?
A barometric bomb. It's an electro-hydrodynamic gaseous fuel device.
All right, hold on here.
More ominous.
Weapon. Barometric bomb. Okay. YouTube. Oh, this is a video. Sorry. I'll just shut up until I have a real answer instead of a...
All right. So, more ominously, construction of such a device required advanced bomb-making knowledge and access to specific materials. Gunderson also highlighted how traces of PETN were found on McVeigh's clothing on the day of his arrest. According to Gunderson, this substance is one of the primary materials for a barometric bomb. So he had barometric bomb dust essentially on him at the day of his arrest after the shit exploded. Okay, he didn't have fuel oil and ammonium nitrate. He had the shit on him that would be used to make a barometric bomb. That to make this type of bomb, you have to have advanced bomb building skills. You know what I mean?
You type in barometric bomb into Google, most of this shit comes up as about Oklahoma City.
Really? Okay, so type in electro-hydrodynamic gaseous fuel device.
Electro-hydrodynamic
gaseous fuel device.
Gaseous fuel device. Okay, cool. Did that. Again, these are all related to Oklahoma City.
So even how the building crumpled, Gunderson continued, suggested that at least some of the explosions had occurred inside the building. In short, McVeigh appeared to be an Oswald-type figure who was there to conveniently take the blame. In fact, many researchers who subscribe to these theories highlight McVeigh's time in the military. So, yeah, I don't think he built that bomb. I don't think the bomb was what it was. Got a bomb expert telling you it wasn't what it was, and his clothes had bomb residue from a different type of bomb that could have caused that sort of damage. Not the bomb that he built that couldn't have, according to a different bomb expert saying that the guy that built the neutron bomb said, yeah, that's not going to do it. So another bomb expert comes in and say, yeah, that's not going to do it, but this kind would do it, and he had that shit on him, all over his clothes. I'm just saying. Okay.
Food for thought. Quite interesting.
All right, so who was with McVeigh the morning of the bombing? That's what you were talking about earlier. So
no, that's not what I was talking about earlier, but that's another good question. What I was talking about earlier is the days before or a week before, whenever you actually rented the truck.
Oh yeah,
but people, eyewitnesses,
I've got that in here.
They saw him that morning with another person.
Yeah, they were unanimous.
Yeah, like 20-something people
telling the FBI that he was with somebody else, that they couldn't. It wasn't Nichols. You know what I mean? So there's two different Ryder's trucks. There is no ready explanation for a different Ryder truck seen by witnesses at McVeigh's motel in Kansas and at the state park where the bomb was assembled in the week leading up to the bombing.
The only thing I can think of there is people were mistaken.
No explanation for other people seen inside McVeigh's motel room during the same period. No satisfactory explanation of the fact that 2 people were seen renting the bomb truck on the 17th of April, neither of them fitting McVeigh's description. 2 different trucks. So why didn't they question the right-wing radicals was another thing that I was wondering, and I looked into that, and it
Didn't
says...
need to.
Huh?
Didn't need to.
Why not? What if that was who masterminded it and put Timothy McVeigh, set him on his course?
Well, I'm going from a conspiratorial nature here, just saying they didn't actually need to talk to those guys to get the answer they wanted.
Okay, so...
It was clean enough with Timothy McVeigh and Terry McNichols, or Nichols, or whatever the fuck his name, Terry Nichols.
Yeah.
It was clean enough. And if you want to take it a step further and think that the government was actually in on it, there was probably likely, behind closed doors or a phone call, hey, don't fucking worry about that. You want to look at this. Oh, yeah, that was a cool... So Jordan Heiser in the chat, this was a cool fun fact I saw, too. He was incarcerated as the same cell block as the Unabomber, Felipe Luis, King Blood, and Ramzi Yusuf, the World Trade Center bomber of 93. So it was like a who's who of bombers in a row of cells in Terre Haute.
And they said that he had looked at the World Trade Center bombing also and said he could improve on that. Because if you notice, the World Trade Center bombing in 93, which is the Yusuf guy, he had parked what? A rented van in the building, in the basement, and blew it up. That's what happened. So McVeigh did the same thing, but he was quoted saying he could improve on that. And then, so yeah, he actually got to meet that guy.
Why is it hard for you to think that he could have studied, like, in his off time, finding any kind of military, like, from Army surplus stores, you can get military manuals. Who's to say he couldn't have taught himself through reading enough to make a bomb that could do this? Again,
I don't know,
you say,
man.
There's the people who are saying that their early attempts at making bombs were rudimentary at best and haphazard and whatnot.
Yeah.
I think that he was smart enough that he could have made a big ass bomb out of.
Type in what was his IQ.
What? Okay, I will. What was?
Probably not gonna get an accurate estimate on this.
Timothy McVeigh's.
You know how to spell IQ?
Yeah.
Okay.
MR. Assessed at 126. So not quite genius, but pretty fucking smart.
That ain't genius. Get
Genius
the
is
fuck out of
130.
here. I took like bullshit because I've taken like 6 of them and got 131.
Yeah, well, the ones on the internet suck.
I would like to take a real one then.
This doesn't say anything.
I'd be pissed.
Gifted is 130 plus. Mensa requires 130. Highly gifted is 140. So
yeah,
126 puts you right above the International High IQ Society membership, which is 124.
What do you think yours is?
I don't know.
Did you do bullshit internet ones?
Yeah.
What'd you get?
Usually over 140.
I got 131.
Yeah. I put no stock in these things because I was able to like figure out, like, I spent some time studying how these tests work and the type of questions they ask you, and I got good at answering those type of questions. You know, figuring out the patterns they give you and that type of shit. So I don't take much stock in them. I'm good at taking tests.
Yeah, a lot of it is like A, B, C, D. So it'd be like a triangle,
yeah,
and
multiple
then 2
choice.
triangles, and then 3 triangles, and then it's like what comes next after, in this pattern.
I would love to take an actual
the next one
officially like administered IQ test.
Was it Mensa?
Well, Mensa, they do their own. I think you actually have to come in with your IQ test already done.
Oh, really?
I don't know. Fuck Mensa. They're a bunch of self-important pricks. We're so smart. Let's hang out.
So here's another thing. Incomplete investigation, so the prosecution would win. The Justice Department felt pressure to win what was turning into a frustratingly circumstantial case, especially against McVeigh. Prosecutors knew McVeigh was guilty and were pretty sure it was his idea to park the truck bomb directly underneath the daycare center at the Federal Building. Their challenge, though, was to prove it without raising significant questions about others that they could not catch or whose involvement they could not demonstrate beyond a reasonable doubt. So that's exactly what I'm saying. If they would have investigated these other avenues, it would have opened up spots for the defense.
I don't think anybody in the world would disagree that something of this level could use more investigation. Even if they were relatively sure they had most of the facts, most people are like, yeah, you could probably find more about it. And it doesn't surprise me at all that there's probably a lot more that we don't know. What else you got on this thing, though? What more conspiracies could you possibly have?
Hang on. Talk for a second so I can find something better here. What we got here?
Talk until he finds something better right here. I'm horrible with this stalling thing.
Yeah, you are. You're fucking done. Get off the show.
See you guys later.
Oh, okay. So, hang on. The official narrative and leave this out. So a month into the investigation, the desire to keep looking for other suspects and sniff around other places, starting giving way to a contrary impulse not to overcomplicate the story or give ammunition to the defense at trial. Even the government struggled to find conclusive evidence that McVeigh had been at key locations in the bomb plot or had been there with nobody but Nichols. His role was expanded in the official narrative from leading suspect to solo mastermind.
Well, yeah, a lot of that is based on the fact that he would not allow his defense to use or to say that he was a patsy of any sort, that anybody else had any more of an important planning role than he had.
So
he wanted to be known as the one who did it.
This is a quote from Scott Mendeloff. This is the prosecutor, the lead prosecutor against McVeigh. If you convicted McVeigh but did not get the death penalty, that would not be okay, said Scott Mendeloff, one of the McVeigh prosecutors. We could not lose this. It was like a pressure cooker for us. We did not lose.
Well, it's similar to how Nichols, like originally they got him on some involuntary manslaughter charges and whatnot. The first time they put him, and then they appealed and hit him for 161 counts of first-degree murder or something along that line.
Yeah.
120-something counts of first-degree murder. So I guess that's kind of what he's getting at, kind of like how Nichols didn't get – he was convicted, but, you know, I don't think Nichols got the death penalty.
So the one thing the prosecutors stripped away at trial was the vital context of the radical anti-government movement, which in the early 1990s was in ferment over what it saw as a crypto-fascist government tactics at Waco and Ruby Ridge, in which government sharpshooter killed the wife of Randy Marsh.
Randy Weaver.
Yeah.
Dude, Ruby Ridge is some fucked up shit, too. You know those guys at Ruby Ridge walked away with, like, really no charges other than the initial gun charges and whatnot? Like, there was that shootout at the beginning of Ruby Ridge where the sheriff
killed his son.
Well, they killed his kid, his 14-year-old kid, and a deputy had died. So after the whole thing, they turned themselves in at the end of it and peacefully went away. They were charged with the murder of that guy, and they were acquitted.
They didn't murder him. I bet that was friendly fire.
Well, it could have been. Who knows if they would have shot him or not? But I guess the circumstances surrounding the shootout were not enough to warrant a murder.
Well, same deal. If a police
they
officer
went for first-degree murder and couldn't get it, so that they fucked up. Maybe if they would have went for manslaughter or something along that lines, they might have got it.
Well, there's a case where like a police officer kicked in a guy's door and he was supposed to be at the next house for a drug dealer, and the guy shot the cop and killed him. They charged him for murder, went to trial, got completely acquitted because this cop was at the wrong house, kicked his door in, didn't identify himself, and got his fucking ass shot.
I mean,
so maybe that's what happened there. I don't know. I don't remember Ruby Ridge. I was young. So
we should do a Ruby Ridge show.
We should. You're right, because we've done the Waco one. That's what's
Why not do something similar where we do all the ones where the government oversteps their bounds?
Oh, yeah.
You know, like with that big stand, like any of the standoffs, really, because it's usually the government like stepping in where people trying to assert their rights and they've barricaded themselves in. Waco, Ruby Ridge, hell, even that one up there in Dakotas where they had that water in the pipeline and all that.
Yeah,
we're retarded. Don't worry about that.
Anyway,
it's not important. It's not important.
No, it's like 4 letters, and I can't remember the fuck it was. The standoff. The
fucking pipeline.
Yeah, Oklahoma. No, it's not. God
North
damn
Dakota.
It, North Dakota. Yeah, the standoff. I don't remember what the fuck it was called either.
Dakota Access.
Yeah, Dakota Access Pipeline. DAPL.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm about to tell you why they stripped away the vital context of the radical anti-government movement. Right here is why this is important. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
So in 1992, a propagandist named Louis Beam, described by a senior ATF investigator as the most dangerous man in America, gave a speech to fellow radicals calling for 1,000 points of resistance. It was time, he said, to fertilize the tree of liberty with blood of both patriot and tyrant. A line almost identical to the slogan McVeigh had on his T-shirt at the time he was arrested.
Which is a Thomas Jefferson line, isn't it? Something like that.
Is it?
I think so.
This is where Armand would come in handy there.
I think that's a Thomas Jefferson line.
Beam advocated for the formation of small, secretive cells that would carry out attacks at the direction...
Where the fuck is Armand when we need him?
but without the specific knowledge of the movement leadership. In 1994, Beam told a career criminal named Roy Bird, who later told the FBI that something big would happen in Oklahoma City, Denver, or Dallas on the 19th of April, 1995. So this is a radical extremist, right-wing anti-government extremist that is saying something big is going to happen here. Now, this just so happens to be the sect that he was communicating with. Anyway, second anniversary of the fire. They've got some kid who's going to do something big, is what he told him. The government never interviewed Beam to find out more. So, you know, they shoulda, woulda, coulda. Either way. So the original plan, according to several sources, including an FBI informant, had been to blow up not the Murrah building, but the federal courthouse next door. The two buildings shared an underground garage, and McVeigh's crew was supposed to plant the bomb there, much as Ramzi Youssef had planted the fertilizer bomb beneath the World Trade Center in New York 2 years earlier, an attack McVeigh had studied and vowed to improve upon. The Ryder truck was first seen downtown around 8:50, 50 minutes before McVeigh later claimed to have arrived, but could not get into the garage because the truck was too tall. So he planned this out with fucking extreme precision. But he oversighted the fact that the underground where he was trying to go, see, the under the daycare was a secondary spot.
Yeah.
That was like, oh, fuck, I got to do something. What am I going to do? Though. No, yeah, it was literally in the parking garage where the daycare was right over the top of it.
I need a diagram.
Anyway, it was not the federal courthouse, and McVeigh's crew was supposed to plant the bomb there. The Ryder truck was first seen downtown, but could not get in the garage. A clamorous miscalculation confirmed by The Guardian by both senior government sources and members of the radical far right. There followed a nerve-wracking hour in which people and vehicles associated with the Ryder truck were spotted several times around downtown and adjoining neighborhoods. So this fucker drove around for the next 35 minutes, 40 minutes, trying to find a spot.
Well, he did it well before what they had actually planned. He decided to do it early. That morning he woke up, he's like, fuck it, I'm doing it early.
So I'm getting to that. So plan B apparently was to park the truck in an alley between the federal courthouse and the old post office building, a site of Oklahoma's main bankruptcy court. But the truck had to back out of the alley, said multiple sources, because a U.S. Marshal Service truck was already dropping off a prisoner in that alley. So he pulled in there for his plan B. Because his plan A was to go underneath between the two buildings in the underneath, like the basement entrance, like he did in the New York Trade Center or the Trade Center bombing in '93. Mm-hmm. Plan B was to pull up in between the federal building and the post office, but there was already somebody dropping off a prisoner at the courthouse.
So, I gotta drop something in the chat real quick. I just found a fucking cool ass map of all the destruction.
Okay, so parking the bomb in the handicap spot directly below the daycare center was Plan C, and as far as anyone could tell, McVeigh's ideal alone. If, as seems likely, McVeigh was left suddenly alone at this point, the 18-year-old Mercury Marquis may have been the only car available to him to get away. Everything about it, including the missing license plates and the propaganda materials left on the front passenger seat, suggest it was meant to be kept close to the bomb site to provide a signature for the attack. It became a getaway car only as a desperation measure.
Okay, he didn't park it under or anything like that. He parked it on the sidewalk out in front of the building.
Let me see.
Here, it's just a diagram. You're not going to be able to see it.
Yeah, you're right. I can't see shit.
It shows when he lit the 5-minute fuse, the 2-minute fuse, and where he parked and walked off.
Why was there two separate fuses?
In every account I've read, that's just the way he did it. I don't know the significance of why I have a 5 and then a 2.
Because if the 2 doesn't go, the 5 will?
Or something like that, probably, yeah.
Huh. I mean, that's kind of smart.
And then again, his third...
Something only a bomb maker would really know how to do, I think.
Well, and then his third part of the plan was, he had his 45 on his side to shoot like a box of fucking dynamite to make it go if those two things didn't work. So he won that fucker to go.
Springfield Armory, 1911, 45 ACP, bud. Anyway, were there two other similar...
It was a 45, so...
Huh?
It was a 45, so who knows? It might have been in 1911.
Could have been. Okay, so where were the other people seen with McVeigh? Although the members of McVeigh's subculture have certainly pointed fingers at the residents of Elohim City, at a chemist living in the Arizona desert who McVeigh tried to recruit, and at a white supremacist punk rocker turned bank robber named Kevin McCarthy, who lied to the FBI twice about his whereabouts on the day in question, and whose information was not shared with the bombing task force because he was being relied upon as a government witness in a robbery case. So that's interesting. He had contact with McVeigh.
Well, there's a lot of people I read that the government found that were involved with this and got full fucking agreements to walk on this. Like one of the guys that helped him make the bomb, like his wife who made the fake ID he used to rent the truck, she got a complete immunity. Well,
really?
Immunity. For his assistant, she got immunity. So there's a lot of shit like that going on. People that were involved, not just Nichols and McVeigh. There are other people they know about that are involved who walked because they talked. So look into that too. A lot of people walked.
That's just crazy to me.
Well, they had to get the big fish. You know what I mean? That's the deal. They needed the headlines and all that.
Right. So we also don't know the identities of the original John Does 1 and 2, the people who rented the bomb truck under the alias in Junction City, Kansas.
I find that to be bullshit because I watched the interview with the lady who worked at that Ryder factory or Ryder place. she can point out and say for a fact that it was Timothy McVeigh there that day, and that he in fact signed his name Timothy McVeigh when he presented a fake ID. And she had a whole story about that she had seen shit like that similar before. So I find that kind of weird.
So he didn't try to rent the bomb truck under an alias and then spelled his name out and then put his name.
Try to put it as
so
an
then
alias.
I'm right. John Doe 1 and 2 were the people who were with him at the time he was there.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I'm mistaken. I thought you were saying it was John Doe 1 and 2 who did it all, and he wasn't.
No.
My bad.
John Doe 1 and 2 are the people that were with him when he rented this truck.
Sorry.
Yeah, so he definitely tried to rent the truck under an alias in Junction City, as you said earlier. But they don't know who was with him, and they can't identify that. So especially you're going to go rent a Ryder truck, even if it's just your buddy. If I'm going with my buddy and we're riding around, he's like, shit, I got to rent a Ryder truck. What the fuck you got going on? So the guy that was with him probably knew what the hell was going on. Sketches were circulated widely. The FBI could never convincingly show how McVeigh got the rental shop himself. Show how McVeigh got to the rental shop himself from a McDonald's where he was captured on surveillance tapes shortly before the time of the stamp on the rental agreement. So they don't know how he got from a McDonald's where he was on surveillance tape at a McDonald's to the place to rent the Ryder truck. How did he get there? They don't know. So there was a car there.
I mean, a car, a cab, a bus,
Obvious.
walk.
He could have cabbed, could have bus. They don't know that. But there would have been somebody there. But what they're thinking is it was John Doe 2's car that took him to the place to rent the truck.
Sure.
So it's possible whoever did rent the truck played no further part in the conspiracy, whoever drove him to rent the truck. We do know that the government showed little interest in answering these questions once the case against McVeigh and Nichols was set. The Clinton administration wanted convictions and closure. The FBI director, Louis Freeh, was engaged in a war of attrition against many of his own senior investigators over personality clashes. Some of the FBI's best and brightest were either distracted or prevented from doing what should have been the crowning job of their career.
That's interesting. I read something too about during that. Of all the multi-jurisdictional, stuff that was going on, people were supposed to be cooperating.
They were arguing with each other. They weren't cooperating.
So
the ATF and FBI mostly were at not at each other's throats, but they weren't sharing information. They weren't
just some crazy shit.
So a joint task force is supposed to be 10
everybody.
dudes,
they sit
10
down at
dudes
the
from
same
the
table.
FBI,
Right.
10 dudes from the ATF. They come in. There's 20 people here. We're a task force. We're going to tackle a specific fucking issue or person or whatever as a joint task force. Well, apparently they couldn't work together right. They weren't sharing information with each other. They were misleading the other agency involved in it. It was just so there's a lot of bullshit around the entire investigations because the investigation was being done by people that didn't even like each other and didn't want to share information. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I feel like it's tainted.
Yeah, people were wanting their slice of the fame for this, and you know what I mean. There's so much involved in this type of case, and it was just shitballed, if that's a word. Shitballed.
Shitballed, huh?
I'm calling it shitballed. All right, well, what else you got on this? You got anything else that we want to go over today?
No,
I'd say we pretty well sped through the facts, got the important shit out, but what I want to say is get out there and watch these videos or read these things. The Oklahoma City bombing is way more interesting than I thought than just some asshole driving a truck up and blowing a building
It's
up.
essentially a 9/11.
It essentially is a 9/11.
Because of all the inconsistencies and discrepancies and bullshit facts that were put together by a set government story that you can prove is not fucking true at all. You know what I mean? So I just feel like it was, and they even mention it a lot of the time, like this was the biggest thing before 9/11. Maybe it was fucking modeled after the Oklahoma City bombing. If someone was truly behind it, maybe they looked at it like this is, boom, here, I don't know.
Maybe.
It's fucking crazy to me, though.
I don't know. Well, good show today, man.
I think so too, man. But it's just that one fucks me up. The Oklahoma City bombing to me is like, what the fuck? There had to have been something awry there. I don't know what it was, but everything that senior FBI officials, bomb experts, different people, the attorney whose brother was killed being interrogated for this.
This is a perfect episode for us to have done. I'm surprised we haven't got to it before because
I didn't know it was like this.
The amount of inconsistencies and conspiracy possibilities are great. This is right up there with JFK in my opinion. The amount of shit, the way everything around it was just fucked.
Yeah, it's insane to me, dude. It's insane. Like I said, I didn't know that the Oklahoma City bombing was like this. I didn't know that it was this. I'd have been into this shit years ago, man.
Indeed. All right, well, we are basically out of time for today. I want to thank everybody for joining in. We will catch you next week for another exciting episode of Surreal Talk. Probably not exciting. We got some cool stuff coming up, though.
We had something picked out, I thought, for next week.
Yeah, our brains are fried, though.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll announce it in the group later tonight or tomorrow or next week, or say it next week right before we start the show. One or the other. I don't know. Everybody in chat, thanks for coming out today. I want to thank all the members of the group, all of our Patreon supporters. If you want to be a Patreon supporter, go to patreon.com/surrealtalk. It's basically just a voluntary subscription service. I won't spend any more time talking about it than that. If you want to help us out, cool. If not, cool too.
Yeah. We're going to make them either way. So we're
check
gonna
out
make
yoradio.com. It's a great online streaming service. Right now, we've got a lot of great music stations up. We've got a station I'm working on that should be coming up hopefully right after the beginning of the year. That's going to be all conspiracy all the time. Other than that, we's out. You got anything, Eric?
No, man, I'm good.
All right. Thanks for joining us today, everybody. We'll catch you next time.
It's a shame I had to speed through that, but man, it was a really good episode. There's a ton of facts that we put out there and a ton of information. You know what I mean? I should maybe link some articles in the, you know what I mean, in the Facebook page.
Wouldn't be a bad idea.
You know what I mean? That could show like some of what I'm talking about.
What you gotta really do is get out there and fucking type in Oklahoma City bombing, and it comes right to you.
I know,
It's not
but-
even hard to find.
But yeah, if anybody's about them show docs, let us know.
Cool. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming in. We will catch you next week. What's the chat saying? What's the chat saying? Let's finish that up first.
What is the chat saying? Eric's saying, rate the show, chat. What do you got for me?
I thought it was a pretty good show as fast as it was. I would give it about a 7, 6.5. What do you think? E.T.?
8.
8? 8? I guess since you let it, you want to make it seem like it was good.
says, Armand missed a great episode. Hope beating off in the bathroom was worth it.
No shit. Get off of the cleaning lady, Armand.
Nomad says it was like some of your first episodes. Frank really enjoyed that. Nah, Team Eric. Sorry, Everett. Burn offering later, guys.
It's fine. Eric did great this episode. B Team Eric.
Great show, guys. Thank you. Danielle says a 4. Frank says a 9. Burnt
Thanks,
offering 7 out of 10. Too fast. I know, Danielle. It got late. I'm sorry. Jordan Heiser 8 out of 5. Murrah says a 10. Wow. Thank you.
Maybe we consider going back to Saturdays. I know it's horrible, but shows are better on Saturdays.
They were better on Saturdays, but a lot of info to process. I agree.
So Danielle, you want us to do it during the week. I know that's one of the things she loves is we get to do it during the week. But one of the downsides about that is fucking trying to work in the studio time. Like today, we were on a half an hour late because we couldn't get Ocho Man and Eric and Armand and Nick.
Which is originally why we used to do this on Saturdays, so we didn't have to work around anyone's schedule. We just planned. We were here at noon. We started at 3. You know what I mean? That we did all the research during the week and then 3 hours of prep as far as show layout, how we were going to present the show. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was a lot of information, but I'm glad I got it all packed in there. Redux. I ain't doing a Redux on this. Not yet. I like Fridays. What the hell? I missed it. Oh, sorry, Benihana. Nomad says 11. Nice. Appreciate it, man. Maybe like one Saturday a month. Yeah, that probably would be. Yeah, that is a thought. It can't be this month. I got fucking tournaments for I got 4 tournaments a week this month.
Shit. Hey, we got to go. I was supposed to pick April up at 4:40 and it's 4:41.
Oh, yep. You suck.
See you all next time.
Episode next. Noted, Shane.
Catch you guys next time.
Thank you, guys.